The night I died, the sky did not weep, but my mother did. I remember her voice fading as shadows curled around my feet like living smoke. One moment I was Alara, daughter of a humble healer, laughing beneath olive trees. The next, I was falling through silence so deep it swallowed even my screams. When I opened my eyes, the world above was gone, and before me stood a throne carved from obsidian bones. That was the first moment I understood. I had not simply crossed into death. I had been chosen. At first, terror ruled me. The Underworld was not flames and monsters as the old tales warned, but something far more unsettling. Endless twilight, whispering rivers, and spirits wandering with unfinished regrets etched on their faces. The air felt heavy with memory. And always, somewhere unseen, something watched. I kept waiting for a god to claim me, to explain why I was here. None came. Instead, I met Theron. He appeared beside the silent river one day, tall, pale, his expression impossible to read. He did not threaten me. He did not comfort me either. He simply said, very calmly, "You sit on the empty throne now, whether you accept it or not." I laughed at him then, a desperate, broken sound. I was no queen. I was barely more than a frightened girl. Yet when I approached the throne again, shadows rose like servants greeting their ruler. Cold power pulsed through my veins, frightening but strangely familiar, as if my soul had always carried this darkness unknowingly. That was when realization struck me harder than death itself. The Underworld had not kidnapped me, it had called me home. Accepting that truth was agony. I mourned my old life, my mother, the sun on my skin. Nights, if one can call them nights where there is no day, I wept alone on that obsidian seat. But gradually, I began to hear the spirits more clearly. They were not monsters. They were lost, afraid, desperate for justice or peace, and they listened to me. When I spoke, the winds stilled. When I commanded, the restless shades obeyed. Reluctantly, painfully, I began to rule. Then came the whispers of rebellion. At first, they were faint rumors drifting through the caverns, a forgotten titan stirring, a being older than the gods themselves. His name was Morvath. Even saying it seemed to chill the ground. Theron warned me quietly that Morvath despised rulers, gods, and especially me, the young queen who had brought unexpected balance to the realm. According to legend, he thrived on chaos, on souls trapped forever in torment. My efforts to grant peace threatened him. Fear returned stronger than before. I was still learning how to control my power. Facing an ancient entity felt impossible. Yet I sensed something worse than danger. Doubt. Some spirits questioned me now. A queen who trembled might lose everything. So I hid my fear. That became my armor. I walked the dim halls with steady steps, even when my heart pounded violently. I judged souls, settled disputes, guided lost spirits toward rest, and slowly, loyalty returned. Still, Morvath's presence grew, like thunder waiting to break. The confrontation came without warning. The river of souls began to boil. The air filled with a low roar, not sound exactly, but pure dread. Shadows twisted violently until one colossal shape rose from them. Horns of stone, eyes burning like dying stars. Morvath. His voice slithered directly into my mind. He mocked my youth, my compassion, my humanity. A mortal child playing queen, he called me. This realm belongs to oblivion, not mercy. I wanted to run. Every instinct screamed at me to flee, but behind me stood thousands of spirits who depended on my strength. And strangely, I felt something else too. Anger. Not wild rage, but a fierce protective fire. These souls deserved peace. I deserved my crown. So I stood. When I spoke, my voice shook at first, but it did not break. I told him the underworld was no longer a prison of endless despair. It was a passage, a sanctuary, a place where even the dead could find dignity. Morvath laughed, and the cavern cracked with the force of it. He lunged. Pain exploded through me as his darkness collided with mine. Memories of my human life flashed. My mother's smile, sunlight, laughter, and I realized something profound. My humanity was not weakness, it was my power. Compassion sharpened my resolve. I gathered every ounce of will, every grief, every hope, and let it surge outward. Light, not bright like the sun, but soft, silvery, poured from me. The shadows obeyed, weaving into chains that wrapped around Morvath. He fought fiercely. For a moment, I thought I would shatter. Tears streamed down my face. Ruling had always felt lonely, but never more than then. Still, I held on. Because queens, I understood at last, are not those without fear. They are those who refuse to let fear decide. With one final cry, I sealed him deep beneath the river. Not destroyed, but contained, his chaos quieted. Silence followed, vast, trembling silence. Then the spirits bowed, not out of fear, out of trust. Afterward, I collapsed. Pharaon caught me before I struck the stone. His expression softened for the first time. "You truly are our queen," he said quietly. And for once, I believed him. Peace did not arrive instantly. Healing never does. Some nights I still ache for the world above. I still imagine my mother looking at the stars, wondering where I went. That sadness remains part of me. But I have learned something precious. Purpose can grow even from loss. Now I walk the underworld not as a prisoner, but as its guardian. I listen to every soul, from kings to forgotten wanderers. I ensure none suffer needlessly. And sometimes when new arrivals tremble as I once did, I kneel beside them and say gently, "You are not alone here." Because I know that fear, I remember it vividly. And though the sun will never warm my face again, I have found another kind of light, quieter, deeper, born from resilience and compassion. I am Alara, once mortal girl, now queen of the underworld, not chosen by fate alone, but shaped by courage, grief, and love. And if darkness ever rises again, it will not find a frightened girl waiting. It will find a queen.